Hello, and welcome to the 14th episode of the Needle and the Lens podcast. I'm here as always with
Kevin.
Come on.
I had to sing it.
You gotta get. I feel like if you were gonna sing it, you needed to be more.
I need more energy.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
all right. Run it back. Cue me up again.
All right. Hello, and welcome to the 14th.
Oh, I didn't mean to do the whole thing.
Podcast. No, I got to start from the top now because you, man, it's fine. You know what? It's the end of the show.
That's the end of the show. We're canceling after 14 episodes. No second season.
After 14 episodes, we got canceled. We canceled our own show.
We canceled ourselves. Trying
Not
to
the
cancel
network.
me.
Exactly.
Not the
network, but
wish we had a network. A network would mean money. Money is nice. Hello, welcome everyone. You know what it is. Needle and Lens podcast weekly. Today we're on a Tuesday and a Thursday if you're watching after the fact. But yeah, we're just switching it up today because we got shit to do this week. It's the grad special, kind of not really. Noah and I are graduating this week, so we're really busy.
Ooh.
So we're getting this one out of the way this week, and we also have a special guest on our podcast today. We are going to be interviewing independent musician, eccentric extraordinaire, Magnus Timbre. What an intro. What an intro.
you. Thank
What's
you.
up, Magnus? How are you doing today? Oh, you're still going?
I heard some hot boys were graduating. I just wanted to give them that, walk of shame. Walk of fame.
Damn. All right. We're gonna have to cancel the show again.
Oh man.
After
Cancel the show.
14 and a quarter of an episode.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we've been canceled.
Man.
Unfortunately.
Twice in one episode. That's rough.
It's never happened before. It's a record. New records.
It is.
Records being broken every day on the Needle and the Lens podcast. You already know what it is.
Check us out in the Guinness Book of World Records for the show that's been canceled the most by themselves.
Of course. Honestly.
Okay, but if
that
you
might
had to
be.
have one record you listen to for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, dang. We're going there. Going straight to
Yeah.
that question.
Go straight there.
Wow.
Starting off hot. Spicy.
That's a toughie.
Yeah, 'cause that's like the rest of my
My life?
It's got to be something that's like
Obviously, mine's going to be Magnus
When you
Timbre,
guys came
Melancholy.
on my podcast, you thought it would be easy. You thought we can, simple questions. We did all that prep beforehand. No, I'm gonna throw a total curveball, dude. You're not gonna get off easy. Like, oh, my favorite artist. Oh, can I pick like 3 or 4? No. One record. That's all you get.
One record.
First one you say, it's locked in.
All right, mine's
wow.
locked in
I'm
for
gonna
the rest
swallow
of
the
my
key.
life. We're gonna. So they they hack our Spotify and remove every other album except the one we pick, right?
It's just the Magnus podcast now.
Yeah, this is the Magnus show. All right, we're retiring, folks. Good night.
After 14 and a quarter episodes,
After
Wow.
14 and
handing
3/8
the reins
episodes.
over to Magnus Timbre.
Yep.
It's Magnus and the Timbre podcast.
I guess so.
Doesn't have the same ring.
Not quite.
No,
Sorry,
it
you
doesn't.
got to work on your branding there. You got to work on that branding. But let's get into the serious shit. All right, we got you here, Magnus. What's up? Who are you? Who are you? For those of
Who am I?
Yeah, who are you? For
I wake up
those of-
every morning. I look myself in the mirror. I'm like, who are you? Someone told me earlier today I have Alzheimer's. That's the first time I've heard that, supposedly.
Oh wow.
do you
But
think
yeah,
they're right?
Come back to me tomorrow.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we'll put it in post.
And here I leave again. I come back.
No, we're not doing that again.
Hey, it's my podcast. You can't stop me.
God damn it.
God.
No power here. But yeah, you asked me a question. Who am I? And all jokes aside, besides me, I am an independent musician from Texas. Last year, I kicked off everything with a big hullabaloo, put out a couple cool singles. Slow Burn Suicide was the first one. The people have really been loving that one. And I followed all that up with my first EP, Melancholy and Hopefulness. A lot of heart and soul went into that bad boy. Like 3 years on of like producing music before I finally felt like, you know what? Oh yeah, we got this. And since then, I have graduated. I got my bachelor's of computer science now. Landed a cushy job that lets me buy more stupid things.
Always the goal.
I'm even on to like, oh yeah, always the goal, buying stupid things. And yeah, now I'm on to I'm playing with my band Exit Gate and doing some cool stuff there on top of running my own shit. And I mean, I even just finally officially made a bunch of doohickeys for my record label, Pretty and Petty Records. Because in the abstract, it's already existed ever since I started releasing music. You'll see at the bottom of every one of my releases. But now I'm gonna throw Exegate on that bad boy. I have some other projects which I'm trying to get started or continue. Like I don't know, a little special Halloween thing if you've ever heard of that one before.
Oh,
I mean, I've heard about these cool guys called the Flannel Rangers. I don't know, man. It sounds like it'd be a cool group to sign.
would be pretty dope. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know. I heard of them. I heard they're making some pretty dope shit, and I heard
I know, dude. Like all these rumors, it's just flying around, dude.
I heard
You gotta
the
pick 'em
Yellow
up by the
Ranger's
hat.
pretty sexy. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Is that
Yeah,
why you're
and,
wearing the yellow flannel? You repping me?
Oh, you know, I'm a simp. What can I say?
Yeah, it's all good. We see it. We see it. We see you.
I have been seen.
Real recognize real over here.
Always.
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 But yeah, let's get into kind of you talked a bit about your musical journey. So what really brought you to kind of wanna work on and pursue music in a sense?
Well, this goes back kind of a long time, really. So, start off 1998, Wisconsin. I'm born. This
Right.
set off a remarkable chain of events that led the Earth to where it is today. Without me, we wouldn't exist. Sorry, I'm just saying
Obviously.
the plain of the obvious. Obvious.
That was profound.
Profound, yes. A lot of people tell me I am very profoundly stupid. So it started when I was in like elementary, and just so far back, I can't remember which one I did first, but the two of the biggest things that like kicked me off for playing music was, of course, first when my parents started sending me to some like guitar lessons and stuff. I had an old J Junior, literally like I'm pretty sure the wood was just some kind of advanced plastic because there's no way that was like a really well-made guitar at all. But you know, I was a kid, so it didn't matter to me then. And there was that when I first started, and then also just Guitar Hero. Like undeniably, I know I'm not the only person who's like this. I would not have the range of music taste I would have with that Guitar Hero. I got exposed to so much cool shit just because of that game alone and all.
Oh
the
yeah,
songs with it.
absolutely.
And I mean, honestly, I probably wouldn't have the rhythm I have either if I never learned how to play Guitar Hero 2. That's a skill in itself, even though it's just 5 buttons. I don't
Right.
know if you ever seen the guy like fuck, is it Akai or Acai, however the heck you like pronounce that word. That's what he goes by on like he'll like stream on Twitch. He'll play that game. Oh my lord, some of those songs people make in the custom games, insane amount of skill, and they I don't
Oh,
even
it
know
goes
if people-
crazy.
I don't even know those people play instruments. I mean, look at me getting off topic randomly.
No,
how I do it.
Guitar Hero's some
happens.
serious shit.
Yeah,
I don't know how I didn't come out with
so
musical talent because I went ham on Guitar Hero, but you know, it is what it is. We're here.
It skipped over you.
Yeah, it skipped over
It
me.
just- yeah.
It's all in the loins now. My children are gonna have insane musical talent.
when Guitar Hero came out, it was just like, all right, you're cool, and I was just blessed.
I guess so. That's
and
how it
yeah,
goes.
Yeah, actually, and also the other third factor too was just the fact that my dad had a fat collection of CDs, like classic rock, classic metal, little hints of like other genres that you wouldn't expect my parents to listen to. Like I know there's like a Missy Elliott album hiding somewhere,
All right.
maybe like
Oh, wow.
Dr. Dre, and then that's on top of also like this annoyed the hell out of me all the time growing up. Was like I would go and I find like a cool artist on her iTunes because we just had so much music there, and then the full album wouldn't be there. It would just be like 1 song, 3 songs, 5 songs, and not even in like sequential order, just like tracks 2, 5, and 10. It's like what why do you people do this to yourselves? So who knows what else they could have been into, honestly. But eventually, I dropped off guitar for a bit, and then when it came around to like 8th grade, my parents were like, my real name now, real name drop, Jared. Jared, you have no hobbies. You don't do anything. You just go to school and play video games. You should do something with your life. So I was grounded for like a whole summer.
Oh, fuck.
Because
Oh,
I just
wow.
like, yeah, like no video games, like minimal TV and
Jeez.
stuff. Yeah. That's just like, yeah, that's how my parents did shit. And I had they kept like pushing me, like, you're so good at Guitar Hero, you're so good at Rock Band, like you should play guitar, you should play guitar. And like I was just blowing it all off, blowing it all off. But eventually I was just like, man, I want to game again, dude. I want to have those heated gamer moments. You know what I'm saying, ladies? And so I started playing guitar again, and that led to a church I used to go to in the state I used to live in. You only get so many of those spicy details. My name was enough. My name was.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
so I used to be a good straight edge little boy. I started playing for the worship band at a local church, and I became really integrated into that community there and that music. And so that was my experience that like pretty much taught me how to fit into a band setting, how to like practice songs and then perform them. And then eventually even like all the times people were pushing for like, oh, you should do more solos. You should do more cool stuff. You should do melodies. And then like I, started to learn like, oh, how do I interpret this thing from the like official version of the worship song into something I'm just playing guitar to like really exemplify it. Um, and I think probably the peak of all of that was not when eventually the youth pastor had me occasionally lead. My cat is closing my door, and that just scared the hell out of me, dude. I just see my door just.
Gotta
I was,
gotta watch out. Gotta watch out
someone was
there.
in my apartment, dude. So yeah, like the peak wasn't when I was actually put in charge in some circumstances, which really honestly was probably him just being like, I don't want to perform today. He can do it. So we would go on these trips during the summer. Sometimes there was like church camps, sometimes it was these mission trips. And one of them, which was called Youth Force, we literally would pay like $200 per kid to like go put siding on people's houses. Um, it would, what we would I was like the worship band the first time I went. After that, I wasn't for some reason, but this is like probably 100, 200 kids. Like, and you're gonna bring the house down when you start playing that one song, like "My God's Not Dead, He's Surely Alive." You ever heard that
Oh
one?
Oh, yeah.
my God.
That song, like, I can still admit that song has an energy to it, like regardless of religious context. And
It's
everyone
still
wanted
kind
to
of a
play that
slapper.
song. The entire worship band, besides our youth pastor, was like, we should play this. Like, everyone likes this song. We need to play it. There's a whole guitar intro.
I had the CD.
Keep going, dude. And so he finally gave in, and so with all those kids there, like I start hitting that lick off, and they go wild, dude. Biggest point of the career then. Absolutely. And so eventually I finally moved to Texas here. Where else would I be besides Texas right now? And it took a couple years before I actually started playing in bands again. I joined this one band. It was literally a band of dads because my social skills were not the best, and all I had was Craigslist. So I found this band of dads called Rum Friday. Eventually, it changed to Black Fang Elixir, not Elixir, but like it was an XR. It was weird. Um,
All right.
yeah. So I some more chops there. Like getting used to like playing in a garage full of dudes. Some some low key homophobia. You know how it is with some like 40, 50 somethings with a house and kids.
Yep.
You gonna get it.
Yeah, but yeah. So I moved on eventually. After some other personal turmoils, and I ended up with this cool band, Academy of Giants. I started playing bass with them, and also streaming all that cool stuff. Unfortunately, we've been on hiatus for a while because of a member's health issues. But then I sometime before the pandemic hit, I had already like been kind of on a roll with making music. I had been posting to SoundCloud. I had been kind of pushing it towards like on Craigslist, looking for people to kind of listen to my music. That's how I got like 3,000 plays cumulative by now on SoundCloud alone. And then I just I kept putting together like, oh, what about this like cool open A tuning thing that I like, and like you can still go to my SoundCloud now. It's a song called Fuchsia, and it's an old version. I tried to like redo it so many times, and like turn it into an EP because I just love how that open A tuning sounds. But it just really never came to fruition. And then I had a second come around where I did release this eventually, but I started these songs. The ones that I released them last month. It was Slow Down, Nyla's Birthday, and Stitches. I
Right.
recorded all those separately, and eventually I was just kind of like, you know what? What songs do I have could make like a release? And those three songs went really well together, despite being made in completely different contexts. And you know, when people would occasionally stumble across my stuff, they thought Nyla's Birthday was pretty hot. But you just for whatever reason, it was another time. I was just like, it just doesn't feel right. I just don't want to release this. And it finally came around to last summer, and I was, you know, nearing the end of my bachelor's, and it was like, just, you know, it was in the summertime when I had just all that time in the world, and so I had started. Um, I grabbed some songs I already had produced, so I thought about putting together Nyla's Birthday, and the other one I have yet to figure out what to do with. I called it Speaking with Tongues, and from there, eventually, I found the old demo of mine for Slow Burn Suicide. That was the first one I remade. I remade that banger, and it was totally worth it. And then I scrapped the other two songs I mentioned, and I started writing new ones. I then bring in other old ones to remake. So ones I'd already produced before, with at least demo wise, was Slow Burn Suicide, Depression in the B sides, and Strange. All the other three, You Make Me Melt, the middle ground between melancholy and hopefulness, kind of Gremlin Man, were all like as I was working on the EP, just kind of just came out. And even Depression of the B-sides used to just be called Neurotic, because I just really like the term neurosis, neuroticism, that kind of stuff. But I just kind of realized, oh well, B-sides, and you know, most people who know music have heard of a B-side before.
Right.
And when you say Depression and the B-sides, it sounds kind of like a band name. So I just thought it was the fun thing to do. And then, you know, the song was heavily inspired by like my mental health of the time. I originally wrote that one and several others like on ukulele first, transitioned to like doing kind of acoustic, and then full blown band stuff. There's a lot of songs on my SoundCloud that were originally written like on ukulele and eventually just adapted because I was learning how to produce music. So all the music stuff is said and done, and since I finally had like a product, that's when I actually kicked off a proper social media run. I decided Instagram because it was something I was most comfortable with. I've always had a resentment for Facebook. I don't even have a real Facebook account. I have one that is under the name Richard Brujo. My Spanish speakers will have fun translating that one. And I just started learning like, okay, how do you release stuff? What's the plan? How does things go now? And that's why I haven't even I have the idea for an album, but I have not started on any more EPs or anything close to an EP since that release, because these days it's all about the singles. It's all about driving consistent traffic. Like, people have shorter attention spans or whatever, and
Right.
you know, you can't just plop your entire meat in front of them first. You got to give them like a little spoon feed. You got to flirt, dude. You got to
Yeah, you gotta spoon feed the meat. That's
You
what you're
gotta-
gonna say. That's the
But
I you know I have a way with words. I
of
really have a way
course,
with
of
words.
course, so eloquent.
So, yeah, and I don't know what I did right with Slow Burn Suicide compared to everything else since then. Literally, like the hour after it released, I already had like 100 streams of Slow Burn Suicide.
Nice.
Like, it hit hard, and even right now, I think it might almost be at like 700 total streams too. After like half a year, so I mean that one's going really strong. All the other ones though, maybe it's because TikTok changed their algorithm to not allow self-promotion to go as far as it used to.
Right.
I'm not as big of hits, but slowly accumulating. Like, I've been like another huge part of, like, besides just making the music itself, is connecting with other local artists. Like, I really wanted to make my basis like, oh yeah, let's find people from San Antonio, let's find people from wider areas in Texas nearby, and like, yeah, so many people that listen to my music has just been really just because I just, talk to people. Like, most people that know about me are also like other musicians that are do the same thing. And I don't know how many times I just, talk to people and just like, oh yeah, here's this and here's that, here's encouragement for you. Let's have a good time. Let's work together. Let's bring each other up. That's I think the biggest thing I actually ever wanted to do when I started connecting with other artists was just like we all need to like be going arm in arm and like rising together because if everyone's just on their own, just kind of just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna eventually kick off, I'm gonna have that one hit, I'm gonna have that one TikTok, I'm gonna have this one thing that boosts it off, like then you're kind of stuck alone. Like I'd rather be building connections with local artists, like playing shows with them, doing stuff, collaborating, just building a scene because I've been trying to find like where the scene is at here, and I feel like I'm either like totally blind to where it actually is, and someone might reach out to me if they ever hear this about, oh yeah, here's what you've been missing. There really isn't the like whole scene type thing like I always hear about from channels like the Punk Rock MBA on YouTube, talking about like, oh, the scene from Seattle, the scene from Nashville, the scene from this and that, like talk about the grunge movement and everything else. Like I'm trying to find that or at least start it,
Mm-hmm.
And all this leading up to now, my next single, A New Idea, is dropping 2 days from now. You can, if you want, you can go find the pre-save link. You can go to linktr.ee/Magnus Timbre right now if you want to type some shit in. There's also stuff in my Instagram bio, or a lot of my YouTube videos will have that too. But yeah, I keep changing up what I'm doing with songs because just kind of whatever comes to me. This time around is some instrumental rock goodness.
Oh, okay.
I had a lot of fun with it. It started as like, oh hey, what do you guys think? I was going to exegate. I was like, what do you guys think of this one? And Panama was like thinking it would probably need some kind of overhaul of some sort to make it sound like an exegate song. And I was like, what? What's this song? It's all me. And I just started expanding on it, and it was so much fun putting the bass together on that one, especially because the whole set of guitars is like they're always playing two different things, but they're like working in unison. But also, what they're doing is so simple. I can just fly between holding down the bass line and chord progression, and also like inserting kind of pseudo melodies in a way, if that's even a real proper musical term,
Right.
from the bass side. Because huge inspirations for me was like Les Claypool, Geddy Lee, Cliff Burton, Jaco Pastorius. Like the way you can flip between like doing the traditional bass roll and also like inserting melodies of your own, making a real voice for the. I think that's just fucking amazing. I don't, that's why I'm not even upset about playing bass in like every band I come across now, because just like I, little bit of shade here. I find a lot of local bassists I've come across kind of do a bare minimum. They don't really put as much respect and time into the instrument as they could be. And not saying it's impossible for them to get better or that like they don't have chops right now, because they do certainly have chops. They're playing in shows and making music, of course, but really making the instrument excel and stand out. That's what I love about playing bass.
Yeah.
I
No, that makes a lot of
honestly,
sense.
if there were one guitar, because I also tried to learn guitar at one point, but if there were one today, I think it would be bass. Like I can't like a good bass line. Oh my God, like it will change my soul,
Yeah,
100%.
definitely. And I think you do bring up an interesting point, Magnus, about how like a lot of it is the bare minimum. And I think that's just how the bass is perceived a lot of the times. But I think that's what
Yeah.
makes great bassists stand out so well and like a great bass line. Cause like when you do something interesting and exciting with the bass compared to, other groups and other songs that just utilize it on the bare minimum, that really makes it stand out.
No, it really can change a track, like
Yeah.
in a whole lot.
I was playing guitar for like I think it was about 5 years on before I finally started like dabbling in bass, and that's when I was so just like transferring immediate like the immediate feel of playing a stringed instrument from guitar to bass like that, and eventually when I started making my own music, I think is when I first had that experience of just like, well, wait, I don't want to do like just the roots, but like, how do I do more than that? And it was honestly a whole lot of playing Rocksmith that not only helped my guitar playing, but especially my bass playing. You'll get exposed to so much stuff you didn't even realize was like cool bass lines or like cool shit they did. Even though like sometimes it could be really simple, where it's playing with chords and inversions and little licks and little like ways you transfer between different chords. And then there's also like, oh my God, learning to play any Rush song or any Iron Maiden song. Just it hits different. It just hits different.
I get that. I get that totally. All right. So you talked briefly about some of your inspirations, and I know you also talked about how your parents listened to a lot of different types of shit. So how do you think those inspirations and your parents' taste in music and things like that, how does that inspire kind of, I guess, one, the type of music you create, and two, how you approach being an artist and creating music?
And specifically, why was God's Not Dead the most influential on your sound?
Why was that the
Dude,
biggest slapper?
dude. So legitimately, I was part of the only group that gave a community for like atheists, agnostics, not religious people at my college. So if you get me talking about religion, I'm gonna kind of go on forever. So don't poke that bear too much. 'Cause I'm that guy. I'm that guy that knows like a little bit too much about religion and atheism.
Right.
But to get back to musical influences, yeah, starting with my parents, they had a diverse enough taste to where I was exposed to stuff that like my peers weren't listening to or didn't know about. So that was kind of like one of those beginnings of just like, wait a minute, I know about something and enjoy something that my peers don't, and this is a weird thing to settle with. And for me, a lot of times in my life, when I've been a fan of something that my communities of any sort I couldn't really talk to them about, it became more of an internalized passion for something where I know I'd be kind of cut off from a lot of people's interpretations of it on their own too. So a lot of my parents' music they listen to to Little River Band, Styx, a lot of plenty of Boston, some Kansas, that kind of stuff. There's some cool variety, some more like soft rock type things in there. They also listen to a lot of country. I was exposed to a lot of it against my will, as I will say, but eventually I've come around to enjoy some amount of country. Um, and yeah, so there was a lot of old music where I only kind of had my parents' opinions on stuff, so that's kind of where I just kind of stuck with, and so I was kind of already exposed to something different from the mainstream, and then I moved on to starting finding my own sound, my own music that I enjoyed. Early on, it was a lot of stuff from Guitar Hero that I would recognize, be like, oh, that's a cool thing. Oh yeah, oh that band was Guitar Hero. That could kick some things off. Rocksmith did the same. If, like some songs were already pre-included in the game, so that kind of led to oh, what's this band? That's cool. That's how I found about Muse. Somehow I didn't find out about Muse until Rocksmith.
Hmm.
Songs like Plug In Baby or oh shoot, whatever I know there's an album that has like the United States of Eurasia and Unnatural Selection. That was a song I played. I played a ton of that one too.
Right.
And then eventually, when I really started like cementing myself into like being a fan of a band, that started with Avenged Sevenfold. Like
Mm.
I know there's plenty of people like metal or not metalhead, like they can have some strong opinions about Avenged Sevenfold their place. I'd say I definitely prefer the military metal of Avenged Sevenfold style to like Five Finger Death Punch or something
Oh
else,
yeah.
or even like stuff that's like borderline new metal, like Disturbed, or technically is new metal. I don't know. But like that's just what I started with, and City of Evil, like jeez, like even though it's the same, mostly consistent sound throughout, there's still so much diversity in that consistency, if you know what I'm saying. That really
Right.
spoke to me. And then getting into heavier music, I actually went backwards from like Nightmare and City of Evil, then to Waking the Fallen, and finally Sounding the Seventh Trumpet. That was my plunge into listening to things where people weren't just being like, "Oh, yeah, 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 yeah." All of a sudden, I can finally bear and enjoy people going Jim Carrey moment when he's talking about like whatever there's some band Jim Carrey was talking about on like a talk show like the 90s or something. That's
Something like
how he
that.
described it. Yeah. And yeah, from there I had found man, Mastodon, Killswitch Engage. I tried getting into metalcore, but like never dipped my toes too far in because I realized it wasn't for me.
Mm.
I found my real explosion of like a specific genre I really got into was with like some doom stoner sludge stuff. Like I don't know what it was, but for some reason I got into that kind of kick. And then all of a sudden, like I'm listening to Pandora one day, like swapping through random stuff, and Neurosis comes on, Give Into the Rising, the song from the album of the same name, it hit. Ooh, I just remember like I spent that specific day at lunch in high school. I went off on my own. I just felt like having like hanging out with my friends, and that song comes on, and it's just I remember that moment like clear as day. It was amazing, and like I dove into Neurosis from there. Um, and pretty soon I expanded my circle of music that I specifically felt like pirating to like I had Queens of the Stone Age, Mastodon, Neurosis, Avenged Sevenfold, kicking on your My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, um, found like Norma Jean. I listened to that for a bit. Dillinger Escape Plan. The singer of Dillinger Escape Plan, the way he integrated like falsetto into such like discordant heavy music at times was like astounding to me. Um, oh man, some of the big ones before I feel like I've made a mistake by not mentioning them. Quite too late. Even recently, I felt like I finally started listening to Goji. Like, oh yeah, sure is shit. Man, there's just so much. There's just yeah. I feel like there's just so many things. Like I had to like open up my phone's library because I still somehow have the majority of my old pirated songs like on my phone because I just transfer them like over and over. Let's see if I hit shuffle. I wonder what the first thing is gonna be here. Mastodon. Yeah, it's literally every band I just mentioned is like all the shuffle when I hit on my
There
old
you
pirated
go.
ones.
That
Yeah, there it
You
is.
hit it off.
I hit it all.
hit all the
I guess
spots.
yeah. The more niche thing I found later on, um, I guess vaporwave. I don't know. Are y'all familiar with vaporwave?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Like when I found vaporwave, I guess maybe just like because of how niche it was, and how like there was a strong community, and it was kind of meme worthy. That like I don't know that really drew me to it, and so I actually have a collection of vaporwave vinyl and cassettes now. I just
Oh,
I
look
have
at
the money
that.
for it. Yeah, like I remember I remember finding a playlist at some point on Spotify of songs that were like you know copyright free enough that they could be on Spotify because most of the
Right.
releases end up on Bandcamp for that reason. Um, and it was Eyeliner's Buy Now record that around when I finally decided that you know what I should get into some vinyl, I should get some turntable shit, and Buy Now was getting a pressing of like 250. I'm like I'm on it. So yeah, like my first ones are like I had Buy Now. I
Dang.
found Esperit's Virtua.wav wave, how you pronounce the W. um and then Death's Dynamic Shroud, I'll Try Living Like This. Phenomenal record, dude. Like I feel really accomplished that like I've I'm so into music enough that I can hear something like Death's Dynamic Shroud. As weird as an album as I'll Try Living Like This as can be, it's still so beautiful at the same time. Like finally having a non-traditional ear for I think is one of my favorite things ever. And most recently, I started to get into some noise and art stuff. Um, The Residents is interesting to me. I just don't really sit down and listen to them ever. I really should. Sun O, that just I remember listening to them for the first time, being like, "Wait, is there no percussion? That's hot. That's fucking hot." And then most recently, the band Earth. I finally listened to the entirety of Earth 2, the special low frequency edition. And yeah, like there's 3 songs on that album. They're all like over 10 minutes long. And the last one is like 30 minutes of almost like the same feedback the whole time. Because like the first 2 songs like have some riffs and stuff that are very clear, that you can hear and make out. But like the last song is just noise.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And like every, I don't know, 128 bars, you kind of hear some form of percussion, but it's just so lost in the mix that like you don't even know if it's a real drum or not. If it like was it drums? Was it just an instrument playing some random shit that sounded like a crash blown out of proportion? I don't know. I really
Who
don't know.
knows?
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's different.
Oh, I
Yeah.
bet.
I really wish I knew how to make noise because it's not like I've made a couple songs that are on my SoundCloud there is like Mars bow strikes through the heart of Venus, and Venus like sews her arm into oars. I think that's what I called them.
Mhm.
And both of those were just straight up like I just hopped up a fuck ton of noisiness in my DAW. The first one I did on my fretless bass, I did like 3 different takes of it, and then the other one was just like one take of just my 12-string electric guitar and messing with like random harmonics and stuff. And like it was like the feedback was and the like compression, it was so overblown that when I wasn't playing anything, it became noise. But at the same time though, like there was almost no purpose to it. Like it was just I was just doing it to do it. I just kind of did it one take and that was it. I don't know much about the noise community or how people really make their noise music, but I just feel like I'm missing a piece of like what makes this work? What makes one noise better than another? It's a little thing that's been tumbling out around in my head recently. And who knows, you might see me releasing a noise album that is 2 songs that are both like 45 minutes long. Who knows? Who
We'll
knows?
see.
Maybe I'll crack the code soon.
Maybe. I think like getting into those more subgenres and those like weirder genres, you start to discover more things about stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, definitely an interesting route to look into and dive into.
Oh, yeah, and one last point that I have like much less experience with overall genre wise. Anything hip hop, rap, R&B, it was never really existing in my household to begin with. I didn't have much for friends that listened to that music. I mean, if they did, like we never really bonded over anything, didn't really listen to it. But eventually I started, I finally checked out Kendrick Lamar, Childish Gambino, Tyler the Creator. Unfortunately, I didn't listen to MF Doom until after he passed.
Mm.
May he rest in power, man. Um, but yeah, there was even like, what was it? Clipping. I found a clipping album
Oh,
like randomly because of like a radio mix Spotify gave me. And it's just like, oh, okay, that's different. I think it was the song Story 2. Like it
Great
just
song.
hit in a way I just never expected. Like, it's like it's a story, and like, it's like everything is just amping up as it goes, and I'm just like, I became immediately invested. Like, it's so
clipping's the
hard to
shit.
make a song like that. Yeah,
Yeah. And story two is
and
like top tier clipping.
oh yeah, and oh yeah, and then yeah, listening to like Pimp a Butterfly for the first time, full album, no stops. That's where it's at. And even yeah, I think Damn coming out too. Like I didn't like that one as much as The Pimp a Butterfly,
Right.
but I mean, yeah, Humble, yeah, oh yeah, Humble for sure.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Got a humble stand over
Gotta
here.
humble.
Gotta humble.
Uh,
And
I,
honestly,
I
I
used
think
to be.
it's just that goddamn piano beat, dude.
It
It's
is a pretty
it's
nice
it's
beat.
so hard to find something that simple that is so hard hitting.
Right.
I went too hard with that song in high school, and now I can't listen to it anymore. I went too.
It's washed out now.
Yeah, I played it out too much. I used to be
Little
the humble
man.
guy. Everyone knew me at work there because I was always I was excessive with that song. I'm not gonna lie.
That happens. You can't be playing things too much.
No, I can't.
But
But one question I had for you, Magnus, is
Mhm.
actually because I know you were saying you started like Guitar Hero was really a big thing for you, but now since you started to actually do more musical things and you had like that church where you started to kind of learn more musical stuff, is music theory, like how important is music theory to you? Because I know there are a lot of artists that don't really, they're like music theory, no, don't need it. But what is your take on music theory?
Um, the short version is like anybody who says like I don't need music theory to write a good song, you're not wrong, but that take is like a misunderstanding of the purpose of music theory. Um, Now even I could be wrong here. Take everything I say with a grain of salt, even things I say about myself. Uh, um, the so music theory is more of a language than anything else. Um, Instead of if I pick up a guitar and I'm trying to teach somebody how to play something, I really hate having to be like, okay, yeah, so you're gonna put this finger on this fret of this. Bah, 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 bah. It just takes up so much time and energy verbally. When I may as well just be like, okay, and I could shorten it all, but just by saying like, okay, you're gonna put a E major third on your on whatever fret of this here, and then you're gonna play this many quarter notes for this many measures. Just having that language to immediately convey all the information they need to know. They know exactly what chord they're playing and where. They know like all the timing. They know the rhythm. They know how long they're gonna be playing it for. There's a lot of stuff too, just with chords alone, where like there's kind of like a guitar theory sect of music theory where people who are guitarists, we all will know like, oh yeah, we know open D and bar chords. Like we know terms kind of like off the top of our head because that's how
Mm,
we're like taught. That's how we learn. But like there's some things where it's just like, oh, that's not a tremolo bar, that's a like vibrato bar. But everyone calls it a
mm,
tremolo. So like there's things where like they
right,
have terms associated with it that are a theory and language in their own. They're just not always the most correct version, if you know what I'm saying.
right, right.
So then where it comes to like application of it, I learned music theory when I found a music theory class in high school. It was an AP class. I was the
Mm,
only, me and one other guy actually, were the only two that were not in any kind of band or orchestra thing in school. He knew how to play a piano at least, so he could always like, oh, we're gonna do this practice with these intervals or whatever, or this type of melody, and so he could just go over and play on the piano. For me though, I just play guitar, and so I almost never had my guitar with me because it's so bulky to take around acoustic with me. Even though I many days was that guy who brought the ukulele or acoustic guitar to school and played.
Nah.
Um,
uh,
I
man.
anyways, moving on. I like everyone in the class had to learn how to do the do re mi fa sol la ti do. I don't even know if I did that correctly, but I still remember it at
Sounds
least.
right.
Yeah,
That was right.
so
That was right.
yeah, we occasionally in class we would be doing like sight reading where we would have to do it with our voices. And yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff. I finally learned like the chromatic scale, why scales are built the way they are, what intervals are and how they work. Like classical rules for like composing music for this many X many voices. Um, I also remember very early on when they kept saying that like it doesn't matter what the bass does, it kind of does whatever it wants to. There's no rules. Like regarding the rest of like how the rest of the melodies are traversing everything, it doesn't really matter how the bass goes. But obviously, you can't just make the bass play like speed metal underneath a classical composition. There's obvious caveats to that saying, but I haven't really heard that since though. Just it's just a thing my teacher always said. So ever since all that jazz, I mean it's classical, not jazz. I have really just used music theory so that I can actually, if I'm just thinking of like, if I want to know what I'm playing, I want to know what I'm playing. So now I have the language to explain what I'm playing. If I want
Mm,
to like know what notes I can play in key and then where I can break out of it, or like classical things like the Phrygian third, the blues fourth, like how to break out in the proper way, and then in like my own experimental ways. There's all that mixed into there. So it's just more of something I've adapted into an unthinking way of making music. Um, Eventually, like I might reach a point in stardom where people are actually trying to analyze my music, which would be cool. I can't wait to go on Ultimate Guitar and be like, yep, that tab's wrong, that chord sheet's wrong, those aren't the right lyrics. That's gonna be a fun experience to
Right.
go through. But yeah, I think I really just I use it as a tool to make my music more extravagant and unique when it's the proper time to do so.
Hmm.
yeah, that makes sense. And I think I've been noticing that I think a lot more, especially with like younger artists, because a lot of the ways that they're learning to play their instruments or make music isn't necessarily being taught in like a traditional way, or like through some sort of, I don't know, classically trained musician or something. So like, and even me, I was a band nerd in high school. So I mean, you might have been the ukulele kid, but I was a clarinet kid, unfortunately.
I mean, the band kids love
Uh,
me.
you know what? That sounds about right. That sounds about right. We were it was a dark time, but oh yeah, so I think that's really interesting because I used to be of the belief that like you need music theory in order to make music. But no, yeah, it's really cool to see that you've kind of abandoned that and have used it in your own way.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
think
I always
yeah.
advocate to people to learn as much as they can. And there's plenty of like really easily consumable mediums to do so. Like Adam Neely on YouTube, I love his content. It's just so like cool and straightforward. It's really jazz and bass oriented most of the time, but it's so easy to like learn something from it. Because instead of like being stuck in a class or reading an old book, you have like, oh, here's one concept stretched out across 20 minutes with a lot of examples and humor, so you stay like intrigued and involved. Also, 12 tone is another great one. Less, like big and popping like a lot of YouTube content can be. It's like, but they write everything out in Sharpie on like staff, so it looks amazing, and they really get in depth with a lot of stuff. Cool, it's cool as hell.
Sounds dope.
True. True. All right. So you mentioned Pretty and Petty Records. That's kind of your next kind of big move. And you were also talking about earlier your use of social media and kind of how you're using it to promote your stuff, but also using it to connect with other people. And that's kind of how you've promoted things. So just give us a little bit more insight about kind of your next steps with Pretty and Petty, and just kind of what your overall goals are going forward.
Yeah. So this was only like a few months back. Because I'd already joined Exagate. Kind of thought of like, what if I just started a label? Because I already released my own music, and like it's so easy to be independent these days with distributors like TuneCore, DistroKid, SoundCloud already existed as an easy distribution platform, same with Bandcamp, and now SoundCloud is also offering like distribution to like almost every platform.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Still a lot of it's more expensive than just paying for like DistroKid. That's what I'm doing. But this entire time, ever since started releasing music like officially on Spotify and such, it gives you the option to like put a label, and it's like, oh, if you don't have a label, just make up a name, because you can. I don't know the business legality, existence type side to any of this, but technically this entire time I have been like releasing everything under my label because that's what it says on everything. So now it's just really making it official, like having an official email and like Instagram to like connect and like share stuff on. At the moment, it's more like, because I am one person logged into three different Instagram accounts, very obviously the outcome's going to be like, oh, this is just the same person posting three times. Like, may as well be a bot. So I want to get to I want to on that side of things, I want to get to the point where I have more than just me and my own content and things I'm involved with, so that
Mm-hmm.
it's a more dynamic and algorithmically tasty type account to push things on. But yeah, then just the whole thing with social media. I been looking a lot into music marketing in general, social media marketing, because I do everything I can independent and on my own, um, except for art a fair few minute times. I do all the writing, recording, mixing, mastering, marketing by myself. No one else has access to my Magnus Timbre Instagram. I have some people I worked with for art, some people to name out. Um, Ariana, I don't want to butcher their last name. But their tag everywhere is ARICANTART, so Ari Can't Art. They did the art for Melancholy and Hopefulness, which
Oh
is
nice.
absolutely fantastic art. I love that art so much. Then I did the art myself for everything else except for Coma Worship. I actually reached out to Goth Milk on Instagram. That's like GOTTH. I think there's a dot between the Goth and Milk. But yeah, I love the style they had, and I was just like, hey, could you put in like a rush order for me? Because I'm trying to market this really late. And so yeah, they did the art for that. They did both like a really kick-ass like metal type logo, and like the art that's like actually the official album art. I love that. Um, so yeah, like all the stuff I just done on my own, and I'm trying to figure out how often do you post, how much content do you make, how dynamic and diverse do you make the content, how much effort do you put in. Like what draws in fans, what pushes them away, what pushes you through the algorithm. There's just there's a whole another world of marketing in itself, which I feel like will easily transfer into other things in life for me. If say at some point, I say, all right, I'm just gonna make music as a total hobby, not try and push as much as I do now, not try and make it such huge projects. Um, I can put that into like, pursuing work, I guess, into other job mediums, because knowing how to market and how to present yourself is, a crucial skill on its
Mhm.
own. So there's that for me. And then also, back to when I was saying about like building up a community and a scene. If I figure out what I'm doing and I figure out something that works, I can go share that with other people. That's the energy you get from a lot of people who do like those music influencer, music marketing YouTube videos, where like, they know the stuff. They've made some success. You can see their studio behind them. You can see their channel has X many subscribers and gets all these views, and they're helping all these people do their stuff. Like, there's kind of a point. I always had this very altruistic kind of view of just like, I know how to do this stuff. I know how to play music. I know how to write, record, produce, market to some degree. I can carry myself publicly, with all the time I spent with like public speaking roles. Um, like I like to share my skills and information with people. I like to bring other people up. That's what I like to do. And it's also why, like, before I was trying to hype you up too, like, start posting on Instagram, start posting on Instagram. It's so easy.
I'm
So simple.
trying. I'm
Like,
trying.
you just gotta go. You just gotta go. That's the simplest thing I always tell everybody. You just have to start. Just go. Just make mistakes. You have to make mistakes.
Mhm.
Um, like, there's no right moment. If I just stayed posting on SoundCloud until I felt like I had it right, I could have like the best album I've ever produced in my life after like a bunch of like experimental attempts, and then I put it out there with no social following, and it just flops. Because
Mm.
unless it's like literally so exceptional that it rivals David Bowie and Queen and all that jazz, like, it's not gonna make it.
Right.
It's so
Mhm.
rare that you find that these days.
That's valid. So
What was the question again? I have no idea where I left off.
I was just asking about what's your next steps with kind of regarding the record label and your marketing.
Yeah, so
Uh,
the marketing is just
yeah.
an ongoing endeavor, and for the label, I just want to start building it. It's an artist first project. Really, the label's existence is to just take people who, either like they're fresh to it or they've started on their own, but they want a little bit extra. And I would be helping with like, hey, here's the storage that you need so that you can like mutually access it with a bunch of people. Here is the distribution, because I'll be setting up the DistroKid label account so that I can distribute like anybody I need to. Hey, here is what we're going to be putting up for the marketing from the labels end, and then here's how much we expect from you for both your own music marketing and also marketing everybody else on the label. Because the whole point is that it's not about the label getting clout. It's not about the label making money. It's about everybody involved in this working together to like get everybody's stuff like up to par. Like,
Mhm.
this is the beginning of, hey, this new band should get some fans, should find some people, should start building up their presence. We like everyone on the label can do that. Everyone on the label can help with that, can help advertise, can be like, hey, yeah, our friend blank blank from Massachusetts. I mean, we're gonna start Texas first. Like, maybe it's someday. Oh, our blank blank in Massachusetts is doing a thing. Go check them out. Like, it's just so cool to see like a bunch of bands who like know each other and there's like looking up a thing going on. Um, and then also, like, I want to be as hands off as possible with the music. Like, if a song is very obviously badly produced, mixed, mastered, like recorded, written, even, that's where like there's I have to figure out where the threshold is of like, where do I stop somebody and say, all right, we need to redo some stuff here. But I want to avoid as much interference as I can. I want the folks to be on like, here's a product, put out in the world, get it out there, make people listen to it. If and of course, everyone I would say probably does this. Like, you have your little criticisms, you have your little nitpicks, you have your little things. Well, if I was in their position, I would actually do that. Like, I wish I would tell them this thing, but it would come off as rude if I told them that thing.
Right.
All that little, like, all that should, if for a healthy environment, that this isn't I'm not saying like this would be a place that would allow you just put all that stuff out there, be completely 100% transparent and open and honest, because that's just going to cause strife and turmoil, most likely a lot of discord. But the alternative is that instead of it being 100% transparency, everyone speaks their mind, even if it's not a good idea. It would be more like, all right, hey, let's work together. Oh, hey, let's do this together. Oh, hey, I saw you were doing this. I think it would help you if we did this thing. Like that, trying to build that community where like even the way we talk to each other is nothing but like altruistic and like uplifting. Like it's so clear that like when someone's like giving advice or someone's recommending something, it's like you don't have to worry about like, man, do they just think I suck and like trying to like insert themselves? Or are they trying to like put their vision into my head so that like their way of doing things is everywhere? Like I don't want that. I just want like a mutual community.
Mhm.
Everyone shares what they know. Everyone helps bring each other up. Um, we're not being rude to each other. We're not like causing infighting. I mean, maybe for marketing purposes, having some like rivalries would be a fun thing to do. But of course, like that's marketing. It's all made up. It's all to drum up controversy. You know,
Right.
we've all seen that episode of iCarly where Fred comes on. You know, record views,
Fair.
record
Fair.
views, record stream.
Oh my god. I'm curious, like hearing you, because you talked earlier about like how you're seeing different scenes, pop up around the country, like seen in Seattle, for example. Like when you're starting your label and you're like, I am gonna try to start a scene down here. Are you looking to those others as like references, or are you like, I'm gonna try and do this my way and build this the best way that I can?
I'd say for anything that you're trying to build up, it's always good to have knowledge of the history behind any type of movement. Um, and that's not a history I really have. I've just always heard that, the rumors of this and that, and like people talk about these punk scenes, city scenes, genre scenes, these movements, and so it's like how much of that is very obvious and how much of it is like in retrospect this was all happening at once but we couldn't piece together. I think now is a better time than ever for there to be scenes like that because we're more connected than ever. It's so easy for everyone to jump in, get involved, do their own thing, communicate with each other, share their stuff. You know, that's I think this is like the perfect breeding ground for scenes to be back. And starting local is just because like I mean, if you're gonna play physical shows, you're gonna have to know people who are nearby you. But
Mhm.
when then you move on to like expanding like to like nationally or internationally, that's when you get into like I guess more cult of personality type deals, which I
Mm.
wouldn't really know how to work there for like nationwide international type movements and scenes, if that even is a possible thing. But yeah, to put it short and sweet, I'm not gonna say I know what I'm doing, but I have that like that something kind of burning inside of like I want to make something happen. I know it's something that a lot of people feel. And so, as I was just saying, with everyone being connected, a lot of people who have that same passion, have that same burning desire, we'll bring them together, we'll make the scene happen. Like we'll start from scratch. And the whole point is that like there's a lot of people who no one's heard of them before and they have talent. That's what it's here for.
Right.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think a lot of times, like, even if you like don't know what you're doing, like that's like you said, trial and error. You have to fail, and at the end of the day, I think if stuff is really good, like the talent can speak for itself a lot of the time. So if you're just constantly like working on that and trying to get better, like I think it'll definitely shine through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to be amazing to get to a point where like people don't have to be like, how do I get into this thing? How do I start doing this? How do I blank it like that? Instead of having the very cold robotic Googling how to do something and watching someone's video who you're never going to speak to, it's like, oh, there's people from my local scene who, if I just ask them, they'll happily let me in, talk me through everything, help me out. Um, I mean, I know so many times, like in old bands, before I actually started looking outward, it's just like, how do you even get a show? How do you find a bandmates if all you have is like Craigslist and you don't have like social connect, like all that kind of stuff. And I mean the I think the highest goal, due to the fact that I'm a programmer, would be starting a music oriented social media service. But
Oh wow.
given how large the already major social media services are, I've seen like there's some cool ones. Like Bandmix seems like a great idea. But like to do anything on Bandmix, you have to pay for it. And so
Ah,
why pay for it when you can just the thing I did, why pay for Bandmix to find local artists when I can just look like a bunch of local bands that explicitly say in their either their at or their bio that says, "Oh, I'm in San Antonio. Oh, I'm in Austin. Oh, I'm from Texas. Oh, this or that."
right.
And then bam, people who are local who can start giving you connections.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. There's no sense in paying for that or for them to give you that service, especially if like starting from that smaller, kind of more grassroots oriented approach with newer social media platforms that aren't a part of the major ones, you have to get people to sign up for that. And if you're going to put
Yeah.
it behind that paywall, you're already struggling there.
And it's totally understandable that the paywall exists in the first place because
Oh, yeah.
who has the capital to start something that can compete with the likes of Instagram and Facebook?
Right.
They've been in the running since the very beginning. So
Yeah.
and even if you did have that capital, no guarantee whatsoever it's gonna work. Because
Right.
I don't know if y'all remember Quibi. It's only been like
Oh, yeah.
maybe a year since they failed. They had
Yes.
all the capital, but it failed because it just
Yep.
didn't work. It just didn't catch on. It
That
didn't catch the fire like
sucked.
they thought. Same for stuff like whatever that like quiz app where you could win money. Like
Oh,
HQ, yeah.
yes.
They had the capital, they had the power, people loved it, but eventually it's just like this isn't sustainable with just the ads we've been running. Like we had to start making people pay for it, and then like their people's favorite host left. So that's like, why would they have any incentive to stay after that? Like so
Scott Rogowski. That
yeah.
was my guy.
And the
R.I.P.
Band-Aid solution I see is besides just connecting on existing social media platforms, Discord is pretty cool for that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm already in a Discord server. Well, I mean, like, what the heck is it called again here? They call it MXTX. I'm assuming that means Mixed Texas or something. It's like Central Texas oriented, like post your music, looking for specific bandmates, post your shows, chat with like people who are local or whatever. I guess one of the larger issues though is that like so many people are more likely to just be like, I'm gonna drop in, put my music in, people are gonna listen, I'm just gonna get free play. Yeah. So you have to like really be involved too, which is another hard thing to do. I feel like a social media platform make it simpler because also like I don't know, I'm in like over a dozen Discord servers. I have most of them muted.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not active in more than like a few, and one of them I have part ownership in, so that's like a whole reason of it.
Right.
So like that's what I'm saying. Discord's a band-aid. One day maybe I can figure out what. For now, I'm just like building my experience as a musician and working human because I do have a job where I will be coding for a living, and I'm already doing like some front ends for training wise. So I now can do some HTML and Angular Bootstrap and all that fun stuff, but I still have a long way to go before I'm ready to let both like own and code my own gig.
Yeah.
Funding it.
Got a long way. Long way.
I really do imagine that either I'm going to move my own music to a hobbyist type thing and gain capital from a real job,
Yeah.
working, or I'll get so much clout music-wise that I can support myself musically, and then my hobby is coding and my real thing is music. It's gonna go either way at some point,
Right.
Unless my two things can coexist. Who knows?
We'll see. I guess
They
we
might be
will
able
have to
to.
see with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll come back to this video in what, like 10 years? We'll see where it's at.
We'll be watching your career with great interest.
Oh, yes. So you mentioned you're releasing your new single, a new idea that's going to be in 2 days, or if the folks at home are watching this on demand, it's already out.
Go listen to it.
It's on demand.
Listen right now.
Yeah, go listen right now. But yeah, so tell us about your creative process behind that one. What was your big driving force? Like, what was your motivation? What inspired you to make this track? Here. Lyrically and sonically.
Well, as I stated previously, there is no lyrics.
Yes, that's right.
So I guess the inspiration for that was that I just didn't feel like putting lyrics on it.
Fair.
Fair.
Musically, one of my go-tos, honestly, so often I've done this. It's honestly my meditation is to do this. Just pick up the guitar, pick up the bass, and start playing. And sometimes I'll just mindlessly be going through something and I'll forget it the next day. Maybe I might record it for like posting on TikTok or Instagram and forget about it all even then. But there's occasionally times where I'll write something and I'm either immediately like, I go start recording immediately. Other times, like I just keep coming back to this idea, and I'm just like, oh, well, you know what? I could actually, let me just put it down. I'm gonna plot it down, start adding more stuff around it, and most often that's how it goes for me. Like I just have a a smidgen of an idea, and typically it's music, not the words, because I usually have words in post.
Right.
And so I'll plot down the bass or the guitar first. And I might add in the other guitar. I might start doing drums immediately and just do drum and drums, guitar. That's how I used to start working on music, because before I started using Reaper, I used Audacity of all things, and I had a separate program that would produce drum tracks. So I would have to like actually like sit with my amp on and play, and then like plot out things and play like in sync with it, and then transfer it all to Audacity. It was a very messy process. I'm
Oh
glad
yeah,
I
no,
don't do
I
that
bet.
anymore. You couldn't even like put plugins like separately onto tracks. You would have to like, all right, I'm gonna put reverb on this track, and it would apply reverb and save it as the new track. It was like
Oh,
Oh,
it's like
wow.
yeah, think of like I don't know if you're familiar with like analog editing, where you have to like take physical tape and like cut it and like attach it to each other to like move things around, or
yeah.
like make a new
Mm.
master where you record things at specific times. It's like semi-destructive editing. That's how Audacity is for using. But if like if you're doing like a some people who do like podcasts or YouTube videos, just straight audio record, put compression onto where you need to be, bam, you're good.
Yeah.
It depends on what you need. But yeah, so my current method is usually I start with a nugget of an idea, start building around it. I typically have a very waterfall type mode to it, where I start from the beginning and I keep adding on parts as I just get to it, and I don't do much for like reorganizing, rearranging, redoing much. Um, and That's just it's what happened with my new single, a new idea. I had the first idea. I thought like, oh, if I do this with one guitar and I do something else on the other guitar, it just fills it out sonically. They're not playing the same thing, but they are playing the same progression. And it also
Mm.
allowed for so much room for experimentation, which is when the bass comes. Bass comes in. It's just ooh, I absolutely love being the one to write everything and then the bass, because I know all my ideas and thoughts, rhythms, and little intricacies that I put into all the rest of my playing. So when it comes to the bass, it's just like I'm gonna accent this, I'm gonna do this. Oh, this would be cool if I added this here. Here's where I
Hmm.
can change it up and not be playing what everyone is playing. And it's such a fun experience. It really is. There is okay. I mean, it's close enough to the album, anyways. It's you already can hear Monday. There is a jazz break.
A word?
Ooh.
There's a jazz break. Um, the song is a yeah, it's a unique structure for because typically you think, even if maybe the intro might be different, but you have your first chorus, bridge, chorus, whatever. Like that's your standard setup. I do that a lot because tried and true method.
Right.
Way nicer to work with than the 1564 bullshit. So this time around, I did something instead where it's like the beginning and end are the same, and then everything like mirrored almost. It's almost mirrored. So I literally love the way it came out. I haven't wrote a song since I was working with Audacity and a USB to instrument cable.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and yeah, I really felt like I also popped off with the drums too. Typically, because I'm not a drummer in the traditional sense, a lot of my stuff can come out sounding a bit robotic, a bit like there could be more fills, there could be more activity with it, but it gets the job done. This
Right.
time, I kind of put as much as I could in on the drums without going forward. I guess what I could call the closest thing to verse in the song, the um the drums really shine during that, because
Word.
and the bass is still playing like a melodic type thing, but it's still taking the back seat to what the drum. I just had so much fun with it. I don't even know if I could actually play it on a drum set if I knew how to play drums, because I'm doing it all on MIDI. I'm not actually
Right. Yeah.
good at play. Feel logistically sound. I've never had a drummer try and play my music.
Well, we'll see. I
We'll
might pull
see.
out the
Yeah.
drums sometime. I'm just kidding.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
I'm kidding. I'm
Uh-oh.
kidding.
I
Aw,
really wish
man.
that the apartment I moved to, like I make enough that I can have me and my cat. That's all I'll say about that. Um, Sugar Papa. But uh, the extra bedroom per se, not the master one, quite small compared to where I have my bed, and there's not enough room for even an electric drum set unless I really
Oh
cramp
wow.
the space. Um, but I could, if I wanted to, get one and put it in my master bedroom, and then I get like I do everything on a laptop, so I could just move stuff into there and put down the MIDI drums through headphones. As long as I can actually like play it well, it shouldn't matter too much. I can post if I have to.
Right.
But everything else I do, I got my monitors here, my desk smack dab in the middle of the room, got my sound stuff up. You can't really because of my lighting setup, but
Oh
you see
yeah.
that thing of darkness back there is audio foam.
Right.
Got some bass traps and stuff. I finally have a place where I feel comfortable slapping shit on the walls.
True. True. That's always nice. Getting your own spot. That's always it's nice. You can do
My
what
own band.
please.
Very nice.
Very nice.
So
Very
I
nice.
God.
My wife.
Oh my
caught
God.
me off guard.
You're making Noah choke over here.
I know. I feel like I've choked a couple times on the pod. I get cut off.
Happens.
But so you're starting your own label. Is signing to a label something that you would ever want to do, or are you like it's independent or bust?
So specifically for Magnus Timbre, ever since the beginning, I just really felt like I want this to be entirely me. I want this to be as untouched as possible by outside influence. And not to say I'm gonna like go isolate myself entirely when I write music and become like a what's the word?
No,
There's a whole like for people who are like isolated and from like almost all kinds of a thought and opinion on a certain thing, like art or music, and they produce music. Like there is a one band where like a dad had some like mystical prophecy and like it come to his head, and so he locked his daughters in a basement for years. They didn't know how to play music, but he gave them instruments, and he's like, "All right, make music." And so it's such a strange album, but you just have to keep listening though. It's one of those things.
Jeez.
Like
Jeez,
yes, it's
yeah.
like these isolated artists, and the same thing happens also for like visual art. Like there's this guy Henry Darger. There's a great Down the Rabbit Hole video by Frederick Knudsen on it, where he was just like a mentally handicapped man and was mistreated a lot of his life, and so due to lack of social skills, he made his entire world in painting that had lore with it too. And you can even see his like, how he never really moved past a childish mind because he paints like so I mean they're like these little fairy like fae type things. They're basically like little girls without clothes on, but they don't have they either have a flat or a male genitalia because he didn't know what they didn't know any anatomical pieces like that. So that like it's it's only so clear, and it also shows his like battle with like his personal relationship and battle with like religion and his belief in God throughout all that too.
Right.
There's so much to dive into with just like isolated artists like that. But so Magnus Timbre, not being a totally isolated artist, you can tell him on a podcast talking with you people.
Right.
That me and my tangents, dude. So I would not be against collaborating with people on things as Magnus Timbre, but when it comes to like the real meat of Magnus Timbre, like everything, something that comes out on the 13th of a month, something that I am like really pushing for through my Instagram and building up the genre and not genre, the brand for, I need to be all me. It's already the inception of the music all the way to publishing and marketing. As much as I can do on my own, I do that. And that's why I even like sometimes I really want to get like someone else to do art for me, but like I try and do my own art whenever possible.
Mhm.
I literally here, I guess I got a little treat up here right back.
All right.
Oh, got a
Unexpected.
surprise
Yeah, we
treat.
gotta fill that dead air. He's got that treat though coming up. Oh, lights on.
Uh-oh, lights coming on.
Lights are on.
I love finding random abstract art. And I found this.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty dope.
yeah.
Just letting you know we can hardly hear what you're saying.
That's because I am a fool. So as I was saying, I found this at Goodwill. Around for a fat minute. I need some art for my stuff, and really night and day difference here, don't you?
Yeah. kind of like it. I kind of like the lights on.
So what I did is I took a photo of it with my phone as best as I could without like, shadows over it, and I put it into my photo editor, and then I was just like, what do I do? Because I didn't want to use just the art itself. I wanted to like make it new and unique.
Right.
Even though I mean, I really doubt the original artist is gonna track me down, copyright strike me or anything, but
Yeah.
you never know.
Better be
and I
safe
just
than sorry.
like kind of my method with like making art times with GIMP is to just go through the random like all the filters and stuff and mess around with it. I found one that was called like Little Planet or something like that, and what it does is it takes whatever you have on your and it makes it look like you're inside like a sphere, and the inside of the sphere is that art. And
Oh, wow.
as soon as I put the filter on, it made the single art. I'm not even joking.
Oh,
like
wow.
the first thing it showed me was that with
Wow.
like that weird mountain and that weird like offset, like you know somehow like side, like it was so neat and unique. I just had to use it immediately. And so that's like one time where it just kind of happened. Self-aware poetry, a little idea behind the art there is that the 3 different songs had their own art, which I used the site Pexels to get free photos from for commercial use.
Mhm.
And then I would like modify them, mess with them. And when I first put together the idea for the an EP, I took all 3 pieces apart and I made it into one piece. And then I slapped the software. And then eventually I was just like, you know what? Let's abstract it. So I did a bunch of shifting and water pixel stuff, and eventually it came out looking like abstract art. But to me, I can see, oh, there's the 2 people kissing that I used to have at the Niles birthday. There is the ambulance with like a woman in like a wedding dress like next to it that I used for stitches. There is what was the last one? I swear one's at like a gas station. I think the woman in the wedding dress is at a gas station pumping gas. There's like an ambulance in the middle of the street, and then the people kissing. I put all that together, inverted the colors, did some cool stuff with it. And then TKO literally was just like, hey, little sisters, come get on this ladder without mom and dad knowing, because they would kill me if they saw you doing this. Take a picture of me on the ground wearing all of that garb.
Right.
And then I got to edit it later, and that's what I did.
Worked.
Oh.
It worked, yeah. Then yeah, so like moving on to like if I was in a different band, if I had a different project and I felt like signing to a big label at some point, and I mean it would probably shift a lot of my attention to that project because I'm signed like officially big hog. That would be different.
Right.
But Magnus Timbre is going to be like as independent as I can get. A huge thing about that as well is that I really want to show that, just like I was saying before, like you can do anything if you just start. Like just like, hey, yeah, I have more capital than the average person, but I can, at some point I want to make a whole album. This is when I have some clout, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get the cheapest, like list, like worst sounding guitar that I have, or even find like an even worse pawn shop. Same for the amplifier. I'm gonna use Audacity and just stock plugins. I'm probably gonna go get even like some shitty speakers too, and I'm gonna write, record, produce an entire album just with all that shitty stuff.
Just make it as scuffed as possible.
Like I'm literally gonna be like, you could go to a pawn shop and get the bare minimum right now. I could probably, maybe I'll even do it on my iPhone or something too. Like that's as lo-fi as you can get.
Mad Lib type beat.
Yeah, and so yeah, do all that and just be like, hey, like you can listen to this. Like if you just on it, you can get to this point, and it doesn't matter what equipment is. Like you can do this.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's definitely like, I feel like something we're seeing a lot more of is like people are just like, I can do, like, I don't necessarily need to have like top-notch equipment to do this shit. Like people are shooting like there are people shooting movies on iPhones, like, and you will literally go watch them in theaters, like big name directors. So it's like, why can't I do that? And same thing for like people making music on iPhone, like you said, Madlib making beats on his iPad. Like I know Steve Lacy put out like his whole demo, like did that on his iPhone. Like,
oh yeah,
it's so easy now and a lot more accessible, which is exciting, but also kind of scary. It's like, damn, anybody can do this, huh? So I gotta step up my game.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit. I will say the movie one is a bit different because I know exactly what movie you're talking about. I forgot the name of it though. But that iPhone was
talking about
modded.
a couple different, actually.
Oh, I guess. But the one that was in theaters, that one.
Are you talking
forgot.
about Tangerine?
No, not Tangerine. It was
Unsane?
Unsane. Yeah, it was Unsane.
I
That
haven't
that
seen
was a
Unsane.
kitted out fucking iPhone.
I
That
haven't I
iPhone
haven't
was
seen it, but
it was kitted the fuck out. But I think
damn.
the biggest thing is that it's, you know, nowadays with the technology that we have at our disposal right away, I mean, like iPhone and shit like that, with the equipment that we have at our disposal, if you have a good enough talent, you can make a quality product.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's like ever since I got my new phone, it has it like half zoom and all that jazz. That's like that was a huge push for me to like really start recording videos as content because I shouldn't have really had this because I didn't know how to edit videos anyways, but my old phone's camera was okay, but
Mm-hmm.
it didn't have that immediate spark that made me think you gotta make videos with this one. Look how good that looks. And so I got the new phone, but I started doing wireless Wednesday on the old phone, and then like have some like it's like VSDC video editor. It's like one of the first ones I found, and it's like, you know what? Let's just work with it. Kind of the same as when I
Yeah.
started with Audacity as like something that was a obviously first alternative to other things you could get for like a good price. So I'm just getting my chops in with something frustrating and difficult now. So then when I actually upgrade and do something better, when I decide to spend money on something worthwhile instead of fast food and Grubhub,
Right.
I can really appreciate it. There's been a lot. That's a lot of things in my life. Honestly, been like I just didn't have the ability to get a better version for a long time. Like before college, I just had like an old laptop that up until update like when Minecraft was officially released out of beta about like somewhere between like the updates 1.6, 1.8, those first ones, my old laptop could not run Minecraft anymore. And at
Ah.
that point it became almost entirely obsolete, but I still used it because if I had a 480p video in like not theater mode, but like the smaller version, which is only like half the
Mm-hmm.
screen, if I played that, I could watch YouTube videos on my laptop. So when I got a new laptop and everything, I was just like, hot,
Yeah.
so nice.
Upgrades are nice. I'll give you
Upgrades,
that
people,
much.
upgrades.
Yes.
They are. But, we're getting it done. Hey, we're getting it done without the upgrades right now.
Hey, I mean, look.
I'm
Let's
here.
be real. Let's be real. I'm not gonna pat ourselves on the back or anything, but no, we're pretty kitted out on this pod. Not gonna
You
lie.
think?
I mean, I'm pretty kitted out. But I mean, hey,
I
hey,
you are.
we could have been. Look, I could have had you doing this with just your laptop webcam. All right. But
That's
I was
true.
like, look,
Well,
let's get this shit go.
Yeah, I mean, it would be different if like you were posting these full VODs to like YouTube as well. I know Gus and Eddie do that with
That's
their
what we do.
podcasts. They have. Oh wait, you do have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, I did not know that.
boom.
Dang.
Dang, there it is.
Boom. Just
Well, look
that
at that. We got a
plug.
new subscriber right there.
Beam boom.
Oh, hey guys, I gotta don't be
All right.
behind. Don't be behind.
All right. No, do you have any other
Another Lens
questions? Because
podcast.
I'm getting around to our last question here.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering how, because you said that you like to do all of your, visual stuff for your cover art, like yourself, but you have worked with other people on that. How is that for you? Because I can imagine it might be difficult, like explaining to other people what the vision is that you have in your head,
Hmm.
for what you want, or do you take more of the approach like, I like your style, go ahead, listen to my song, let me know what you think and go ahead and go with that. So like, yeah, I'm curious what it is, what it's like for you whenever you're outsourcing that kind of work.
So what I did, actually, honestly, this is pretty much the same actually for all three different people I work with. Because I had someone did the art for Melancholy and Hopefulness. Someone else did some mostly supplemental art for like marketing purposes for TKO, and then somebody else did art for Coma Worship. And each of those times, it was really more just like, hey, here's like what I'm thinking. Here is some ideas, but I really left a lot of it up to their interpretation. Um, I don't really know if everybody really like if it, I don't really know how widespread it is for like a visual artist to be able to just like listen to something and then try to like synthesize it into like album art of some sort.
Right.
So I really usually go with more like, hey, here's a basis, and then take it from there, put your style into it, do some interpretation. With Melancholy and Hopefulness, a large influence that I gave for make the album art they did was because I had not too long beforehand I was gender non-binary. And so I wanted that to be reflected in the album where I'd say the art does look more feminine than masculine, but the the approach I was going for was that just like, you're supposed to be able to look at them and be like, that's androgynous. Sure, what is what there? That's like the inspo I was like giving. And then like every time that Ari came to me with like a new, I'm just like, yeah, 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 yeah. It just looked phenomenal. The only thing I changed on it was I like the art that they gave me was not square, so I had to I added those side borders
Right.
there. If it was square, it wouldn't have had probably any text at all, because we're in an age where you don't have to look at it, like you don't have to look at the actual CD and be like, what is this? Um, yeah, and then move on to like TKO. Like I had that mask already, and so I was using that as part of like the thing. And then I saw that artist let's see, Saber Error. I have them tagged. If you ever go back to my old posts, I just cannot remember their at right now. Um, they had these images of like animal heads, but they were like like they're prismatic. Like dude, think of Porygon.
Oh, okay.
Kind of how everything is like very like you can see all like everything, all the features and stuff, but there's very clear, large shapes that build everything up. So I that was more of a specific request, like, oh, here's the mask. So if you did it like in this style, I think that would look neat. And there was some like other stuff they made as well. Then yeah, the last one, I just really digged Goth Milk's art style, so that's why like I had what I did was I got up in my bed and I made like a kind of a Baphomet pose, Baphomet daddy. And then I edited myself into like a hospital bed and did a bunch of cool shit with it. And I could have used that art, except I didn't pay for the rights to it. The background art I used, and I didn't feel like, doing that. So I even like removed the watermark as best I could, just so it wouldn't be distracting for the template. But I never released it ever. Like, I don't know if anyone besides Goth Milk ever saw it. I don't remember showing it to anybody. And so yeah, I gave it to them, and then like yeah, they was like their first time making like a metal logo. And then also yeah, they just they originally had like a whole zombie with like guts hanging out on the bed at first, and I was just like, well, this song is about like depression and like literally worshiping a coma, not so much like war and guts, but I like what you're going for. Yeah, so really, I was a lot more of it, and all of that still was like, I just had this anxiety about doing my, because I am more a musician at heart than anything. But as I've expanded my prowess from music, and like I did public speaking a lot for my old student organization. I did music, and then so those two things I'm proficient in, and then add on like, oh, I can make art, so I started making art, and now I feel way more comfortable doing my own marketing. I started video editing when I thought that's something I probably couldn't do, but I mean, it was way simpler than I expected it to be, and especially with how nice of a camera I have on my phone,
right?
Piece of cake. Just edit it all together and like make it cool. I a lot of me collaborating so like has been stuff that was more supplemental, more of the side dish to the main course is how I view it.
Right.
And now I'm really moving on to head chef, do like everything. And then even moving on to like, there's some other dishes being made that are not the Magnus special, but
oh wow,
I have other people work in there, but I have directorial duty stuff. And like, not to say that with like Exagate I have full control. It's a lot of it. So much of it is like branch out of like Pan and I working together. But we make it hot. We make it spicy.
That's nice. That's nice. Glad to hear that. Noah, anything further?
I Tiny Gremlin Man. I need to know.
All right, yeah, that's my last question. All right, we
That
need
was
to
your
hear
last
about it.
question.
We need to hear
I
about
need the
it.
story
All
behind
right.
it.
Here is the story behind Tiny Gremlin Man from Melancholy and Hopefulness. I was working at a old country store as a server, and I come home from work, and I every so often like I feel like everyone does this like in some form or fashion. You just start making you start singing at the top of your head. You start making a little beat on your desk or your finger. You
Mhm.
start doing a little jig.
Mhm.
Just kind of releasing some stress, energy, just moving around. You're dancing like no one's watching. Um,
Mhm.
no one is watching. You're in your room alone in the middle of the night. But
I hope no one's watching.
so I came home and Butterball, my cat, his
The cat, bring the cat. Yes.
So I come home and his thing he does when I'm gone for even like an hour at a time sometimes, he'll just come up to me and he'll just plop over. Like he just wants some loving. Not usually one for like cuddling or being held terribly. Like if I'm gone. So he pops down, I'm just like, oh dining man. 'Cause I already I'm calling him like a gremlin for a while. And so I
Uh-huh.
just started like piecing stuff together. Dining gremlin man. I wanna hold you by your side.
And he left.
No one never told you that you look so up your
See, it's cutting out, but I'm still imagining it. I have that
Yeah.
song
I
memorized.
I was a bit quiet at the end, but
No, you're good. It's Discord does
so
that.
yeah, I just kept singing it kind of over and over. And it's like, wait a minute. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and like it already sounded like something old, something 60s-ish. So I did it with that in mind and I had a beat that made me think of like 50s 60s Beach Boys Beatles where it's like a doom cha 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 doom cha cha. Yeah, the double snare type stuff. And then also wanted to change up my approach to where it wasn't as guitar centric. So then like that's why I swapped out the like vocalization O's with the piano, and then I so that guitar was on one ear, piano on the other. So non-traditional, you usually expect the guitar to be panned across, maybe piano like you have two guitars and the piano is like panned across or something like that. I wanted
Mhm.
something where it's like imbalanced, like something I'm not used to. Maybe
Mhm.
thinking more to like if you ever listen to a lot of those Beatles songs that they did in stereo before
Yeah,
stereo was like the main thing. They
Yeah.
sound so wacky. But
jumping
I
all
wanted to put
over the
myself in an
street.
uncomfortable position with the like kind of the panning wise mixing stuff. And then yeah, I didn't take the song super seriously either. I just kind of kept going or whatever. There's so many parts that is just like oh I have like I had like six different voices singing that out pretty and then yeah, I even like the reason I have Butterball was because somebody I was dating was fostering cats and was like begging for somebody to adopt this one specifically, and so I did because we were seeing each other, and and like we didn't talk too much after around the time I was like putting that all together, but I still asked them like, hey, like what's your favorite thing about butter? And they told me what it was, and I incorporated that into the song. And it was like I'm pretty sure it was a line where about him like screaming when he's hungry.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's how it all came together. And I remember even before the EP came out, like I was posting bits of the song like on TikTok or like other places, and I had a bunch of people I knew that were just like, I love this. This is great. Like how can I find this? Like this and that. And beside like so all there's only like a handful of songs that get consistent plays because like playlists and stuff. And those three songs are Slow Burn Suicide, You Make Me Melt, and Tiny Gremlin Man.
Tiny Gremlin Man number 3.
Mm.
Let's go.
Yeah, dude.
It's actually I was looking on your Spotify. That's your number 3 song most listened to. I think yeah,
Yeah.
first one is Slow Burn
People
Suicide.
love
Second
it,
one's
dude.
TKO actually.
Yeah. I mean, TKO is the only other one where I've had people like kind of just no primer, just kind of come to me like, oh yeah, TKO is slap, TKO is a bop. Because usually it's more like I have to be talking about my music to begin with for someone to say their opinion about it. It was different when like TKO came out, because like I remember Panama was like telling me like unironically it was like his favorite song that I'd done so far.
TKO video coming soon, by the way.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then yeah, I didn't. I feel like Como Worship was just such a departure from what I normally do, so I'm not surprised that like that didn't go too far. But I had so much fun making that.
Oh yeah, and that's really what matters.
Oh god, like it's this Schecter I have. Like the issue I have with it, Floyd Rose, kind of to take care of honestly. But I just was like, metal, so be it. And Como Worship existed.
There you go.
Wow. Well,
That's the way it goes.
That's the story I needed, because I needed to know how this song
we
came about,
needed to know. We've been waiting for it.
Because Kevin sent me that song. I want to say like maybe last year. I don't know. That was the first song
It was
I
a
heard.
while ago. I think it was when I first listened to the EP all the way through. I was like, yes, this is the one. This is the one.
Yeah, I really envisioned it as more bonus track type thing.
It gives me bonus track vibes. I get that.
Yeah, I really like the idea of albums, EPs, whatever being made to be listened to sequentially, like all one through. I grew up listening to albums, so that's just like that's my go-to. I'm not like a person who puts a bunch of singles and stuff into playlists. I hate doing that. Unless I'm like totally unfamiliar with a genre, then I'll accept it. But yeah, so it makes sense, like title-wise, for the middle ground between Melancholy and Hopefulness to be literally the third song out of 5.
Yeah.
But then Tiny Gremlin, I had to put Tiny Gremlin on there. So that's why it's on the end, because it's clearly not like any of the rest of the music.
Yeah. But it works. It works so well.
It just works.
It just
works.
Does.
I remember there's this site that's popped up recently called Operation Band-Aid. It's designed to be a place for you to like go and find like local artists. Either if you are an artist willing to collaborate and find local people, or if you just like want to find people in your area. And when I made a long ass like Wikipedia intro type thing, and when I was describing Melancholy and Hopefulness, I said it was a 6-track alternative rock pursuit covering, and this is the order of the songs: addiction, depression, dereliction, infatuation, confusion, and a song about their cat.
Ding.
Hit all the points.
All of the important notes.
I had everything like rhyming with shun, and then I thought there was no way I could make it work. Any word that would like reference the fact that it was a song about a cat and also rhyme. So I just total curveball, just like the song.
And just switch it around.
Just switch it around.
That's what you got to do.
Love playing with words.
Of course.
That's a huge thing for me, more so than like I focus way less on the actual melody most of the time and more on like what words I'm using, because I really love to find words I don't hear often or just kind of fun for me to say.
That makes sense.
I have a huge thing about not using the same word more than once in a document, unless it's something you can't avoid, like a specific subject you're talking about, or like conjunctions and to, or that kind of stuff.
That's
but
valid.
If I have to use adjectives, I'm going to use a different one every time.
No,
if I have to describe a process that is not a very specific process, like if I'm not listening to instructions, I use a different. I try to say a different way every time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was really helpful for my resume. I'm trying to pull out my headphones. Like with resumes, you want those action words, and you don't want to use the same action word once because it's like, oh, laziness. So I mean, I put probably too much effort in my resume because I don't want anyone even read it anyways. But I got a job now.
Yeah, that's a step ahead of me.
So
that's the goal.
No, I'm never writing a paper again because of grad. Congrats, grads.
Yeah, but
one time, a friend of mine was at some point they were trying to sell some loots and all that jazz. make some extra money.
Mhm.
And I now I don't do this normally, but like when someone I know, I'm just like support the arts. And so I dropped them some cash and something out of it, and it's just like, you know what? What if I just like wrote a whole like review of this? And I did, and I tried to make it sound as unironic as possible, and
Oh man.
it's just like a total shit post. And the funny thing is though, like it was such like a personal thing too, because this is like for them, it's just like they don't want to risk people like taking screenshots and sharing it everywhere, and like her identity getting out.
Mhm.
That's the whole thing. That's a lot of people would be worried about that, especially if gender. And so it was supposed to be like only for my viewing, and so that review only makes sense if you have seen the photo. So there's no way I can really share it. But
Right.
I went off. I went off. They loved it.
That's great.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's what you gotta do sometimes.
Just what you got to do.
That's what the in-depth reviews.
In-depth reviews. I mean, technically, I could unironically become a lewd connoisseur and reviewer.
You could that fuck the
Right.
music, fuck the coding. That's your life
That's where
path.
it's at, dude. That's where it's at.
That's the life
I
path.
don't know. I feel like that would lead me into the life of fan fiction writing, but
Hey, you
because
could do it.
considering how like
Oof.
artists can make such easy money by just engaging with like furries for whatever reason, furries just really love paying for art. Um,
Oh god.
and oh my god, the
Furry
stereotype that
NFT coming soon.
it always it always
Oh
gets
my
into like some
God.
depraved shit specific about their fetishes. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean even like my freshman year of college, I was taking the required like writing class, and my professor straight up told me that I was a better writer than she was,
Oh damn.
and strongly encouraged me to switch my degree.
Wow.
Well then.
I had I just had like the regular like stuff and essays writing and all that jazz. There was even like kind of like write an essay about your own progress and how you've been doing. And I remember like specifically for the very last one, she had said that like it was hard to come across writing that was in second person. And so I specifically attempted to write my last like self review in second person,
Mhm.
and she loved it.
Mm.
And also my big paper, like what I'm still really proud of this paper actually. It's called like discrimination in video game environment, and it's or no gender discrimination in video game environments.
Mhm.
All about how like if you are a woman, if you sound like a woman and you're in a game like an online multiplayer game, you're gonna be harassed. You're going to be
Oh, yeah.
insulted. Like people are going to like, and not even just verbally. People will track you down in the game and just fuck up your experience and not allow you to just enjoy it. And it drives so many like women and like female sounding people to um like just go underground, like not play games or play games without voice comms, just go purely chat based. Like they miss out on this entire world they could experience. But anonymous, mostly men on the internet are absolute douchebags, and all
Yeah.
they want to do is just bully women. So you did gamer moment.
Yeah. That.
And I even remember like there's a specific source I used that was else, and some years later I am like reading something that referenced the same source. I'm
Oh
just like,
wow.
I've seen that before. Like I feel like if I was like a full-time researcher of some sort, I would encounter that way, which is so neat. Like later, it's just like, oh, I know what they're talking about. I've actually
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I get that.
Uh,
Just
yeah,
connecting
I've
the
slapped
dots
that
with people.
essay on my professional social network accounts.
Mhm.
Job reasons. I don't know if anyone
Yeah.
ever though. If they find me, they're most likely just like sending out their mass posting of like, hey, webinar, maybe you
Yeah.
qualify for this.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I'm
you
tired
ever
of
had
those
to use
messages.
Handshake, but
Oh yeah,
Handshake is
I'm
like the
getting on
college
Handshake
version of
now.
LinkedIn. And
Yeah.
oh my God, like you get messages like every day from
Yep.
people when you like go to the
Yep.
webinars or whatever else, and you never like I never met the qualification. They just saw, oh, here's their degree, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Handshake
Fuck
sends
Handshake. All my
sorts of,
homies hate
like,
Handshake.
they'll send me jobs. I'm like, I'm not qualified for this at all. Like,
Homie, they sent me a Affleck job today. Real talk.
yeah.
I forgot Affleck existed, dude. Holy
Me
shit.
too.
Like, I remember the duck. I vaguely recall them being like an insurance company or something.
Yeah,
Right? That I think.
Or is that a goose? Is that a goose?
It's a
that's a duck.
goose, duck,
No, it's a duck.
duck,
That's a
goose.
duck, right?
I don't know.
Duck, duck,
It's a
goose.
duck.
Swan. No, it's
Thank-
definitely not a swan.
It's definitely not a swan. It's a duck.
It could be a goose. I don't know. He's pretty big. Oh no, never mind. No, you know what? I'm tripping. It was a
Do
duck.
you think that the proliferation of animal-based mascots in advertising during years led to many of us becoming?
If your question was becoming furries, probably.
Like, you had the Geico gecko, you had the Affleck duck,
Yeah.
goose, whatever it is. Oh man, there was the Carfax fox,
Oh yeah.
The Energizer Bunny.
Energizer bunny,
There you go.
Chester cheetah,
Yeah.
Tony the
Uh,
tiger.
Oh yeah.
The Coca-Cola polar bears, the
Jeez.
icy
Coca-Cola
polar bear.
Yeah, the Cocoa Puffs thing.
Oh, that bird, the crazy
I don't
bird,
know what his name was.
cuckoo for
Um,
Cocoa
Oh yeah.
Puffs.
And
Whatever.
the Fruit Loops.
Yeah, I was gonna
Fruit
say
Loops
the
toucan.
Toucan Sam.
Oh wow.
Applejack's has a pass because they had food that was anthropomorphized,
Yeah, that's
which I don't see people being foodies except
Well.
in a very pure sense.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh shoot, there's
Well,
there
34,
was
I
that
guess.
that wolf. Oh god, stop it.
Cookie
There's
crisps?
that
Are you gonna say
wolf- yeah,
Cookie crisps?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And then like the honeycombs, whatever the hell that thing was. What was that?
Oh, what?
I didn't even know there was a honeycombs.
Yeah, honeycombs had some like spherical like wild man like covered in hair and like just like, ah!
Okay, that.
Wow.
Nope. I have no idea about that.
Yeah, if you look up like old honeycombs commercials,
Whoa, what is this thing?
dude,
Hold
I know,
up.
right?
Hold up. What is this?
What?
Dude, you
For
should
this, now
totally
I
put
feel
that
like-
up on stream right
Now
now.
I feel like I gotta. I
know,
feel like I
wish
gotta.
could-
Sorry, Magnus. You gotta disappear for a moment. Hold on.
No, no, please
Dude.
don't make me go.
This-
No.
Hold on. You gotta disappear for a moment. Okay. Well, that works.
This thing looks.
That's,
wow.
Old honeycombs commercial. What the fuck is this?
I know, right?
Yeah.
What in the
Yeah.
shit?
What is that? What did I remember?
Like, it is so creepy.
Oh my god, that's not selling nothing. That's not selling nothing.
Oh, and yeah, and besides the commercials, like every probably like every cartoon where like the main characters were anthropomorphic animals.
True.
Mm.
That's another factor.
That is another factor, but
Even though, yeah,
Remember Animorphs? Animorphs, was that they were?
Yeah.
Animorphs.
all right, that's 3 furry drops. All right, let's we're gonna segue over to the ending because we got 3 furry drops. That's it. We're cutting it off there. Magnus, do you have anything else you would like to say to the folks at home?
I was about to say this, but I wanted to keep it family friendly, so I'm not gonna just blast your ears with that sinfulness.
All right.
So the last thing I will say then is, thank you so much for having me on. Who's been here live? Absolutely loved it. Thank you so much for coming out to support us. And don't forget to check out a new idea when it's this Thursday, May 13th.
Yes.
Magnus Timbre on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, wherever the hell you get your music.
Absolutely, y'all. Be sure to check that out, and y'all know the drill. We're gonna include you in this time, Magnus. This is how we always end our podcast. All right, we like to go over kind of the favorite things we have listened to and or watched this past week. So, Magnus, since you're our guest, let's start with you. What's the best thing you would say you listened to and watched this week?
Really feel like there was something I watched recently, like different, but I cannot recall what it was. So I'll
Mhm.
just say again, um, the album Earth 2 by Earth. It is avant-garde noise. I don't know where the distinction goes between rock and metal. I know
Mhm.
Suno is metal. Maybe Earth just counts as noise rock in a way. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, definitely Earth 2. Um, I don't know if it's the perfect best foray if you've never listened to noise music before, but I mean, if you want to listen to something that your brain isn't used to, Earth 2.
Word.
Yeah.
I did.
Word. Did you
What
watch
about you,
anything
Flick?
interesting this past week, or not really TV or movies much?
I watch a ton of YouTube.
Okay, word.
So I guess a very broad one, less on the entertainment side, more on like the that's randomly obscure and I really enjoyed learning about it. The channel the channel is just the guy's name, Frederick Knudsen. Um, but if you look up down the rabbit hole, you'll find his videos. They're
Okay.
basically these mini docs. And just like a lot of YouTubers end up doing, they start like short, but they keep just getting bigger and bigger. Most recently, he has done videos on he did one on Deep Blue, the first like major chess computer. And like
Right.
he even went into the like the computer science history. And to an understandable degree, computer science history, talking about like Claude Shannon, who was like the wizard of like data and cryptography, like founding father type kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, there's some other really cool stuff, shorter ones like the older content. He has a video on vaporwave. He has a video on the Furries. That is like, you know, like as I'm not a furry, that was a really interesting thing to watch though and learn about. And he also has one on like the
Fourth furry
Austrian.
drop, by the way.
Sorry, dude. Like you asked for this. And then yeah, probably the last video I'd recommend that I think about. Two more. Hey, one of his earlier ones is called about Christian Weston Chandler or Sonnet Chew. He had a great video on that one. And then there's also one more recent one, the Austrian wine poisoning. Something
Ah,
very obscure that people in Austria would know about, but its information gets disseminated incorrectly to everywhere else and it stays obscure because it's not in English, so it
yeah.
doesn't get spread as much as it would. But yeah, Frederick Knudsen, Down the Rabbit Hole, amazing channel.
Word up.
Noted.
All
Cool.
right, Noah. Boom, boom. Your
Uh-huh.
turn. Let's go.
All right. So this week, I actually I didn't really watch anything necessarily like new. I
Gasp.
know, I know, I
A
know,
gasp.
I know. I was slacking this week. I was slacking this week, but oh yeah. I mean, just still been watching Community. There are a few other things I've been wanting to get around to, but just haven't had time this week. It's been a busy
Mhm.
week. Been a busy past week. Like we're about to graduate. There's so much stuff just
Oh
trying to get
yeah.
ready.
Oh yeah.
Wild. So yeah, I didn't get to watch a whole lot, but just still been enjoying watching Community. As far as stuff I listened to, first, definitely the new track from Little Sims. She
Oh
is
yes.
killing it. I know everyone was like, J. Cole this, Isaiah Rashad that. What about Little Sims? Okay.
Word.
Because that track is amazing and I think she's definitely preparing to drop a really great album that doesn't come out till September.
I know. So far away.
Yeah, like
You
don't.
gotta have that hype.
I mean, hey, she's starting
She
the hype train
she is.
early.
She is. Did you
Um,
see the vinyl drop on it?
yeah, I know. I'm just like, do I need to buy it right
But
now if the album doesn't
signed. You
come
could get
out?
it signed.
I could get it signed, but it always buying signed vinyl online just doesn't hit the same to me as having it having them actually sign it when I'm right there, you know?
See, but
Like I
that's
don't
such
know.
a hardly ever experience though.
It is, but that's why it feels so much it feels a lot more special that way to me.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, no,
I
definitely
feel
the
like there
Wilson.
would be an exception for if it's vintage signed stuff.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. If it's there's no chance I'm gonna get it signed, then for
Like
sure
the
I'm
person's
having it.
dead.
Yeah.
Real
That's
talk.
why my injury reserve vinyl is
Oh yeah.
so
Well, but
so
we
coveted
got
for me.
that signed in person. That's
We got
different.
signed in person, but
Yeah.
even now, like knowing that I wouldn't if I bought that album now, I wouldn't be able to get it signed by all
Oh
three of them.
yeah.
It's like
Yeah, that would suck so hard.
Yeah, so that was the best thing I listened to. And also I finally got around to the Arm& and Hammer and Alchemist album, which I
Oh,
really
yes.
enjoyed. Um and that album cover is still absolutely disgusting.
Oh, it's so
But
gross. So gross.
yeah. But the album is super dope.
I need to go back to it because I really liked it the first time, but like I know if I go back to it, I'm probably gonna love it more.
Yeah, you probably will because it was really like Alchemist, man,
He
he doesn't
he,
miss.
he really doesn't, except
Yeah,
for
so
$80 for 4 tracks. That's all
not
I'm gonna
paying for that
say.
vinyl. Not paying for
That's
that.
all I'm gonna
But
say. But
yeah,
I
but
guess I'll go into mine.
yeah, we've
Mine. I went
gotten
to the
to you.
movies this week, bro.
What?
I
You went
went
to the
to the
Yeah.
movies?
movies.
What the
What did you
what?
see?
That's why I want to
I
go to
know.
the movies. What the
I know.
fuck?
Let's go to the movies.
Let's
Fuck your
go to the
Florida trip.
movies.
Let's go to the. Actually, no. We will
Fuck,
go.
fuck
Fuck
graduation.
graduation. Honestly, fuck graduation. Let's go to the movies, bro. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I know this nice ass theater around here too. I'll let you in on that after. But
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
saw
okay.
nobody at the
Nobody.
movie.
Nobody.
It's that one
Not
where
ringing a bell.
the guy gets robbed
Oh, is that
one
with
night.
what's Bob Odenkirk?
I think so. I'm really bad with names
Better
right
Call
now.
Saul. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
it was a solid movie. That shit was brutal.
All right.
Like, I mean, it was a pretty solid action movie. I'll give it that. I mean, it's not like a cinematic masterpiece, but it's an enjoyable experience.
All
I'll
right.
say
What
that much.
are we in comparison to say like a John Wick? Have you seen John Wick?
Yeah, I've seen John Wick. I think storytelling I might have to give to John Wick. I think
Interesting.
the storytelling of this movie is a little bit rough, but I think
Mhm.
like this is just from pure violence. Nobody is hard and like you ever see those like action movies where like a motherfucker gets hurt and you just cringe at the thought of that
Yeah.
shit happening? That's
Yep.
how intense it can be at times. So
Yeah,
I
Have you
will
he's-
seen
give it
Mortal
that.
Kombat yet, though?
I have not seen Mortal Kombat yet.
All I will say, besides the other opinions I have on it, the fights and gore. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah?
oh yeah.
All right.
All right. I might
Okay.
have to give a
Might
shot to
tap
that.
in.
It's on HBO Max, so I might have to give that a shot. I didn't know that. Just real quick before I get to my music, I didn't know that movies that were going to HBO Max at the same time as theaters were getting taken off.
We're getting taken off, dude. It's so fucking stupid.
That's so dumb. Yeah, they took off Godzilla vs Kong just at the end of last month.
yeah.
So
and I was like,
we
damn.
watched it literally the day it was getting taken off. I wasn't paying attention the whole time, but
And
you know, it
I
was
can
just
really
there.
see theaters like the Evo that has like basically like a whole paid bowling alley stuff
Mhm.
attached to the theater. I can see those
Mhm.
surviving. I can also probably see the draft house type style where you can.
Oh,
get
dude,
served while
no,
you
fucking
Mhm.
Draft
Those
House is
definitely
closing one of their
survive.
locations in San Antonio.
Ah,
It's the one on Marbach is closing.
yeah, but like the standard movie theater was just like walk in, they have old arcade machines that like
Yeah.
have not been kept up with in years, and all your condiments are like from the overpriced stand, and that's it.
hmm
No, not those are gonna fail most.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we said this on the first episode that like the
Mm,
only way for theaters to survive is to make it an experience you can't have at home. Plain and
yeah,
simple.
that is true.
That's what the dealio is with that.
Even though I do personally hate the sit down, I hate the restaurant movie theater. I can't get down with it.
See,
I just can't.
I can get down with it if it's not a movie that I desperately want, like if it's a movie that I desperately want to see and experience, I'm gonna go to a regular theater because like I don't want any kinds of distractions. But if it's just like
Right.
you know I just want to chill, have a good time, maybe this isn't a movie that I care about too deeply, I'll go see it
I
at
could
like
see
a
that.
draft house type or
That's valid.
the chain that's over around here is called a Star Cinema Grill. That's they actually have some pretty nice ones.
Star
But,
Honestly, I
Cinema.
think the only other thing that could really justify going to a theater though is when you have something that's big, like Endgame.
Oh yeah,
Endgame is like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
I'm going to the theater.
Yeah.
That's different.
Right.
But
Yeah,
most of the other
that's-
movies, it's just like if I could watch it on HBO Max and not have to go to
Yeah.
the theater for it, I would rather do that.
exactly.
That's valid. That's valid. I think I'm going to be in the theater this year as much as I possibly can. Just 'cause I've been
I wanna.
deprived
I
so
was
much.
saying this when I was on stream the other day because I was just doing a movie trailers react Andy bullshit. But I was just watching and they were all like, only in theaters, and they're having this whole
Mhm.
deal where they're just essentially trying to hype up. It's like, we're gonna save the theaters, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, man, I miss Movie Pass. Wish Movie
Dude,
Pass was still
remember
around.
like right before the pandemic hit, we were like, AMC A-list? Let's do it.
Yes, I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, we're gonna do it. It's $20 a month. We'll make it a point that every weekend we'll go to the movies and watch at least one movie because it'll still be worth it. But then the pandemic hit, and it was just like, well, thank God we didn't pay for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
But best thing I listened to.
Yeah, I was about to say we're still waiting on that.
Best thing I listened to, I guess full project wise, I'm gonna have to give it to the Czarface and posthumous MF Doom project, Super
I
What,
didn't
that
get to
came
that.
out. Got around to that. That was a very, very solid album. And best track though, I am trying to remember what it's called. It's this new Benny track called, I think it was called Love Left.
Oh,
Really
yeah.
solid. Really solid.
Really?
Benny
I
the
wasn't-
Butcher.
I wasn't feeling that one.
You weren't
honestly.
feeling it, bro.
I wasn't feeling it.
Fake fan, bro. I'm just kidding. No, but no, I
Alright,
fucked
it
with it. I
wasn't
fucked with
hitting
it.
me.
It hit me pretty good.
alright.
I thought it was solid.
I'll give it a second try and
Yeah,
see.
give
if
it a
it's
second try.
different.
You better. All right, but yeah, that's gonna be it. Same spiel as the end. If you're on Spotify, we are, or any other listening place, we're on YouTube. But if you're on Spotify right now, you should totally go over to the music tab and listen to Magnus Timbre's new single, A New Idea. Yeah, we're on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, we're on Spotify if you just want to listen to us instead. And if you're on Spotify or YouTube, we stream on Twitch every Wednesday, but today's Tuesday. That's fine. It's whatever. Every Wednesday, except for next week when we take a break next week too.
Yes.
So Noah can enjoy himself and do his little vacation, I guess.
Hey, it's been long overdue. I need a trip. I'm fully
I need a trip, too.
vaccinated. I am.
Actually, I'm
which
bullshitting
microchip
you.
Did you get?
I got the Pfizer.
Oh,
so
yo, Pfizer
that's
gang.
Ah, I'm getting outnumbered.
Yeah.
Some hoes. I'm
Yeah,
getting
the
So they're
software
tracking me,
update
they're-
fucking killed me like a couple, like I think it was a couple weeks back now. But
Yeah. Get y'all a
Yeah.
vaccine. And I also just realized I'm lying to you. I'm taking a mini trip next week too. I just completely forgot.
Man.
I was hating
smart.
on you. But all right, that's gonna be it, folks. We'll see you all next time. Peace out.
Bye.